Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's Ezekiel here. I hope you all are having a lovely day today. I want to let you all know about something that happened today. As a lot of you know, I quit my job some months back and have been getting into the whole entrepreneurship dealio. And that has been a challenge in a lot of ways. It's been fun in a lot of ways. But it has just been this huge mixed bag for me, and I've run into a lot of difficulties that I didn't expect. A lot of stuff, just as far as how I live day to day. For example, poor time management skills, which I've been dealing with very aggressively lately. A lot of, just figuring stuff out, misdirected efforts, all kinds of stuff. Developing skills that weren't developed as much as they should have been, all sorts of things like that. But also just a few, mental hang-ups that in some cases I wasn't even completely aware of. And one of those is something that I just figured out and confronted today. And of course, I love that, and I get excited about that kind of stuff because I'm the analytical type and I love to figure stuff out. And that's kind of another weakness, is that I take great pleasure in figuring stuff out and not so much in actually doing things, making things happen, and so on. But in any case, I did come to one realization today and confronted that, and I think that is something that may help others of you out there who may be going through something similar, whether it is related to entrepreneurship or anything else in life. It could, tie into relationships, into just all kinds of stuff, really, depending on your particular case and your history with that. But something that I've had to deal with in this whole process is finding it very difficult to just to take the resources, the skills that I have, the opportunities that I have, and to really just pursue stuff and go after it. And in a lot of cases when I would do something like that, I would even feel bad for doing it, even though I was very careful to not do anything unethical or immoral in any way, anything that's conflicting with my values. Even when I'm in a very real sense providing value to people, doing fair work and stuff like that, it was just, a burden on my mind, and I hated going after stuff like that. I hated pursuing opportunities and making stuff like that happen. And there was just almost kind of this nagging sense of guilt there, and I wasn't sure what it was. I wasn't sure why I had this dread of doing things. And I could kind of tell in the back of my mind that I had this strange fear of being found out. And I didn't like to come across as somebody who, had money on their mind at all, somebody who was even trying to earn a living or to, provide for the people in my life. To me, even just the thought of coming across that way was like, I didn't like it. It made me feel bad. Even if it's just, the perceptions of other people. And it didn't really make sense to me for the longest time. And it wasn't that I was afraid to do work or anything like that. I loved working, and I particularly enjoyed doing work that was, free, or at least, in some cases, if it was fairly inexpensive. For example, there was one person I knew from church, and she needed some work done on her car. And so I, made a deal with her for, a certain amount of money to do that. It was a $300 job, and I checked at the shop that I worked at the time. I went through the process of drawing up a quote to see what it would have been if she had gone to a shop instead. Found out it would have been $800 and some if she had gone to a shop, versus I did it for $300. I still made $100 or so. The rest was in parts. And so I really enjoyed that. I felt good about that. Kind of because, on paper, okay, clearly I'm saving this person hundreds of dollars, and sure, I'm making some money too, but, I'm helping this person out for sure. Stuff like that I felt good about. But other than that, if I couldn't mathematically prove that, yes, I'm saving this person this much money and they're this much better off, because they're working with me, I didn't like going after stuff. I didn't like pursuing stuff, and I didn't like really even agreeing to do work, presenting myself as competent to do work. And it was strange, and it has held me back for such a long time from just being a man and being productive and doing what I need to do and contributing value to the world. And so what I realized today is that there was a part of my past that I was aware of, but I never really confronted it, and I wasn't aware of how it was impacting me today. In my childhood, I had been very different. I was very ambitious, very much a kind of entrepreneur. No fear whatsoever of selling things, making money, all that kind of stuff. Walking right up to people and, making an offer. And at that time, and this went on for a number of years, probably until around sometime in middle school. And it sort of died down leading up to that. The problem that I had was that I was flat out greedy. I will straight up admit that. It was bad. Perhaps not in a literal sense, but I was that guy who would walk around and see people, and I basically see dollar signs, and I'm thinking, okay, how can I get money from these people? How can I get somebody else's money, basically? That was my mindset about money. That was my only glimpse, the only facet of, entrepreneurship, if you can even call that real entrepreneurship, that I was familiar with. And over time, through this whole convoluted mess of different mindset shifts and events and learnings and teaching and all that and growth, I came out of that to the point where, like I said, now I was happy, perhaps too happy, to do free work and stuff like that, and really just genuinely caring about people, not really wanting to, not really even wanting that badly to make money from people, especially if I knew them. And so I have since then, it's not an issue for me anymore. That's something that thankfully isn't there anymore. That greed, that hunger to, I've got to get somebody else's money. I've got to, get wealthier off of these people. I've got to, satisfy my own cravings regardless of, whatever. That's been gone for a very long time, but I never confronted that, and I hate this phrase. I hate this phrase, but it's important and it's accurate. I had never forgiven myself for that, and never really acknowledged that, yeah, that's behind me. That's not me anymore. This isn't me going around looking at people and seeing dollar signs. This is me recognizing, okay, people have problems, and I can solve them. Okay? I can give value and I can receive value, and that is a good thing. I'm not greedy anymore. And when I realized that, I'm like, oh boy, I've got to go on a walk. And so I did. I thought over that. I dealt with that and confronted that. And that was just, it felt like a huge, just a huge weight taken off of me that I had been carrying around for so long. Just this fear of the past, just this living in the shadows of my past flaws and things like that. And just being afraid of being found out for something that wasn't really even a part of me anymore. At the time, years ago, sure, it would have made sense to be, afraid of coming across as wanting to make money, because I had, of course I don't want people to know that I'm greedy, that I don't actually care that much about them getting what they need. I just want to, put the dollar bills in my pocket. But now it's different. And because I haven't forgiven myself for that, because I haven't confronted that and let that go, and really taken the time to say, yeah, this is totally unrelated now. Because I hadn't done all that, I had been living for, all this time of working, trying to make this stuff happen, trying to work for myself, in this kind of avoidance of going back to that when it wasn't really even there at all. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, how this relates, maybe you've been through kind of the same thing. Maybe you've got this kind of nagging kind of avoidance of moving forward and doing the things that you should be doing in life. And maybe it's because there's a past issue that you haven't confronted and that you're kind of living the shadow of it. And that could have to do with finances, entrepreneurship. It could have to do with relationships. Maybe you've had a history of porn addiction and sex addiction and stuff like that. Maybe you've had a really improper attitude towards women in the past, and you've come forward from that. You've grown out of that, but you're still afraid of entering a relationship because you're living in the shadow of how you used to see things. You're living in the shadow of, I used to be this evil, terrible person in this realm, in this situation, in this, particular facet of life. And so now I'm afraid to engage with this facet because I associate it with that evil part of my past. It could be relationships. It could be, any number of different things. But anyway, that's my experience with that. Maybe you've got something similar. And if so, I hope you'll confront that. And I hope you'll, figure out what it is, figure out if it is something that's still relevant or not, find out if you still need to deal with it. Because in some cases, maybe you're only halfway dealt with it. Maybe there's still some stuff that needs to be worked on and finished off. But in any case, I hope you'll be able to move forward from that, move out of the shadow of your past and into the real world, because like I've said before, the past is not real. It's just a memory. It's imaginary, essentially. It happened, but it happened. It's not happening. Okay? Does that make sense? Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. And maybe you can realize that, there's something in my past that's been holding me back. Now I can target that. I can address it, confront it, forgive myself, and move forward into doing what I'm supposed to do as a man. All right? That's it. I love y'all. Have a great day. For those of you who don't know, I'm on Gab, Twitter, I have on website, virtueandfaith.com. Check it out. And also, there is a group on Discord that you can join us at. Me and the brothers there have a jolly old time in there. Links in the description for all of that, so you can find me in all of those places. Anyway, that's it. Y'all have a lovely day. God bless you guys. Take it easy, but not too easy. I will talk to you later.